Hey, what's going on, y'all? My name is Devontae, and I sacrificed my time so you don't have to. Believe it or not, I'm in the middle of the actual show in itself. I'm looking at the Zachary Wentz and Wesley street fight match. It just went on commercial. I have to redo the intro now because originally I was talking about Raw, and originally the viewership number that came out was 1.2 million views, but it was corrected, and in reality it's 1.5 million views. So that's a good thing. They're up from last week. That's a good thing. You know what I do want to talk about, honestly, because I get a bunch of shit all the time about, and rightfully so, because I need to do my due diligence, but it's really hard. It's really hard to cover wrestling news sometimes. It puts you in a bind, and it puts you in a predicament where, like, you're gonna, like, almost always contradict yourself with how fast the news goes, man. All I can really do sometimes is just correct the situation. And it's not to say that, you know, the onus is not on me. You know, there'll be a situation, for an example, like the Will Ospreay stuff that I covered a couple of weeks ago, where it was already debunked. You know what I mean? Like, it was already something that was out years ago that I didn't do my due diligence, and I didn't go back over the rest of the articles that I seen to confirm that. And you know, yeah, I remade the video, but the accident still happened. Or when I talked about the television deal for Dynamite, you know, or for AEW, and I just flat out got the information wrong, and I said, oh, it was going to be, you know, the money that they were going to get was going to be per year, but in reality the contract was completely different. You know what I mean? Or I think I said it was going to be the entire length of the contract, but in reality the deal was per year. But there are times where it's like, bruh, like, they just put out blatant misinformation, and then, like, you have to cover that shit sometimes. Dave Meltzer does it all the time. I had to make a video on that like a month or two ago when I put out a community post. Originally, when, the Wild Samoans, you know, when Alpha passed away, you know, he actually died the day after, but, you know, Dave Meltzer put out a post saying that he died, you know, that night, when in reality he didn't die that night, and I had to run with that news. It's really hard to cover the wrestling news sometimes, man, I swear. It's to the point that when something breaks, you really shouldn't even try to cover it for like at least a day or so, because if you try to cover it in real time, it's almost confirmed that you're gonna get it fucked up. I wish there was something that you can use to fact check in real time, but there's nothing you can really do about that shit, man. You have to rely on the people on the ground in order to give you the information, and then you either run with it, or like I said, you wait a whole day, but by that point, you know, everybody already got to the news, and it fucks with your numbers and stuff like that. And I know probably people are probably, oh, that's so vain, you shouldn't be worrying about numbers. Well, see, the only problem with that is that I'm a small channel, and you have other channels. And to be fair, maybe I can kind of, you know, be a little bit more loose with that, because, you know, I you know, you guys are awesome, and I have enough, you know, loyal people who follow the channel where even if I don't cover it in one day, I could wait like a day or two, and, you know, for the most part still get similar views to what I would cover in real time, like say a couple of months ago. I think that's what I'm gonna have to start doing from now on out. It's just giving it a couple of hours, if not a full day, and just waiting for all the stuff to pass through. And it sucks because you have you guys in the comment section, and you'll ask me like, oh, Devontae, can you cover this? Can you cover this? Can you cover this? Can you cover this? When in reality, it's like, fuck, it's such a risk nowadays, man. Either you cover it in real time and risk something like this happening with Brandon Thurston, where, you know, having to, like, you know, make a correction, and then you have to, you know, be at risk of putting out misinformation at first, or, you know, you put it out later and, you know, have a bunch of people asking you to cover it in real time. But that's what I'm gonna have to start doing for now. Now is just waiting like a day or a couple of hours before covering whatever is out, because it's just so much. And I'm not here to say that the journalists are doing it on purpose. Brandon Thurston is a reputable source. It's just that even with guys like that who never really make mistakes are going to be made, and, you know, it's really hard to rely on the news nowadays, man. It really is. But with that being said, I had to make a correction on the intro, because I had like a whole fucking 7 or 8 minute intro talking about Raw and the numbers. Had to redo that, so this is the new intro. Going forward, let's get into the NXT review. I mean, I'm already in the NXT review, but just fucking come on, let's go. Okay, am I tripping? Okay, I could be wrong. I'm looking throughout Twitter to see maybe my eyes deceive me. Maybe the guy just looked like a fucking doppelganger. Am I tripping? During the match with Giulia and Roxanne Perez at the end of the match, we'll talk about that in a minute. Am I tripping? Did I just see Eddie Kingston in the crowd, or am I tripping? Or does the guy just look a hell of a lot like Eddie Kingston? Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm fucking tripping. Okay, whatever. Let's talk about. Someone let me know in the comment section. Was that just Eddie Kingston that just sitting in the crowd, or am I tripping? Whatever. They put the camera square in his. Hang on, no way. Hang on. I'm looking this up in real time. I'm typing his name in. Eddie Kingston. I gotta know. Like, what the fuck? I know I did not just see that man on television. No way. There's no way that was just him. Hold up. X. Eddie Kingston X. Let's see. Nah, okay, I don't see anyone talking about it, so maybe that wasn't him? Bro, that guy looked just like Eddie Kingston. Holy shit. Regardless, though, the match with Giulia and Roxanne Perez, it was a bit clunky, but it was nowhere near, like, as bad as the clunkiness would have made you think it was going to be happening throughout the match. I do kind of figure sometimes, I do wonder, how do the Asian or anybody with a language barrier, I wonder how they communicate in the ring, you know what I mean? Do they just straight up call it on the fly, and they just I don't know, hope to God that everything works out perfectly fine? I don't know. I always kind of feel like the language barrier kind of fucks with people, but nevertheless, though, outside of a couple of little small botches, not even a botch as far as them miscommunicating, but botch in terms of for an example, there was a spot where Roxanne Perez did a hurricanrana or a Frankensteiner or whatever, a headstand Frankensteiner to Giulia, and then Giulia didn't immediately react, and she looked like she just kind of dived out of the ring, stuff like that, you know what I mean? But other than that, the match was fine. There was another spot that I kind of didn't like a little bit too, I'm not gonna lie. That emerald flosion on the outside of the floor, and them kind of the referee should have been a little bit more slower with the count, because it kind of forced the girls to no sell the move a little bit, and it looked goofy as fuck. Someone takes an emerald flosion. That's who was that? That's Masaru's finish, right? Masaru's finish. If you were doing an emerald flosion on the fucking floor, that would have been a complete angle 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And today it's you just no sell the fucking move. It's fucking crazy. And again, I'm not blaming the girls. The referee counted way too fast. That was crazy. But I like the transitional moves. That crossface into the STF was fucking beautiful from Giulia and Roxanne, and they were fine. Like I said, towards the end of the match, it was good. And you had the spot where it looked like Giulia was about to win the match, right? But when Roxanne Perez went to go grab the championship belt after the emerald flosion spot, she was distracting the referee, and then out of nowhere, what's her name? Cora Jade, who was hiding behind a hood or whatever, pulled what's her name out of the ring, right? Homegirl, whatever the fuck her name is, Giulia, and she hit her with a future shock DDT on the outside of the floor and threw her back in the ring to get hit with pop rocks by Roxanne. And surprisingly, Roxanne Perez retained her championship belt. Was not really expecting that. And I like the match, and I like the atmosphere also. It feels like a PLE with the audience in the arena. Shawn Michaels came out to introduce everyone. Triple H was there too. The only thing that's gonna probably hurt this a little bit is they're trying to make this come off as a PLE essentially, but it's commercials in between, so it's gonna be kind of hard to do a show like this with commercials in between, because it's that's gonna hurt the flow of the shows and the matches in themselves. But like I said, I like the show so far. I like the match in itself. Again, I don't know, it was a couple of little fumbles, and the match, albeit was decent, could have been a hell of a lot better. Not to diminish, it's a show at the end of the day, so it's kind of hard to pick it apart to say something along the lines of, I didn't like the finish, because had that happened on pay-per-view, I would have actually not liked that. But clearly they're going to probably push this going forward, and obviously what they did in the match is going to be something that's more apropos for a television show, as far as the actual I guess I don't want to call it a storyline, but the actual post-match stuff. So I'm willing to just wait it out, see what is gonna happen going forward. But the match in itself, if I had to give it a grade, probably a C+, a 3-star match, 3.5-star match, give or take. Again, it was really, really nice for a women's match, but seriously, what's that fucking Eddie Kingston? I can't get that out of my mind. With that being said, let's continue on the show. Zachary, Wentz, and Wesley is coming up next in that street fight. I wonder how that Miz TV segment is going to turn out. I watched Raw. Oh, actually, I can't say I did. I had to redo my damn intro, so you guys have no fucking clue what I'm talking about. But I watched Raw last night, and The Miz, I seen him turn heel on R-Truth, so I am kind of curious as to how that's going to play out as far as his character, or if they're going to kind of integrate something from Raw into Miz TV. It's coming up next. But this match with Wesley and Zachary Wentz, it's just one of those things when it's like, I would like to just see, you know what would be a really good type of hardcore match nowadays? If people just actually beat the fuck out of each other. You know what I mean? Not having guys go out there and have to be all cute with their flips and dives on top of the weapons and stuff. This is a cold-blooded feud with Zachary Wentz and Wesley. This man, you know, brought up your girl. You know, you guys talking shit to each other. This guy, he beat the fuck out of your best friend, which was one of his ex-best friends. He turned his back on you. And, you know, to see the guys go out there and they're like flipping and, you know, doing all this crazy shit, it's just, it's a blood feud. Why are you doing all this? That's one good thing about the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre match, and I'm hoping plays out on Saturday. You know what I would like not to see? You don't have to go get the tables in every fucking match. You don't have to go get a chair and all this other kind of shit. Just go out there and beat the fuck out of each other. Go out there, throw a guy against the stairs, rub his face against the mesh of the fence, really pound each other, beat the dog shit out of each other. I would love to see that in the match. You know what I mean? You see these hardcore matches nowadays, and like, it doesn't even feel like hardcore matches. It just feels like a Cirque du Soleil type of deal, and it just happens to have weapons in between. It's not as if this match was bad. It's just like, you know, after a minute, you know you're bad when you do so much bullshit with gimmicks that you just take it and it's not even fun anymore, bruh. These type of matches, they just, you've seen one and you've seen them all. And, you know, and it's so unnecessary, too, because you have a built-in story with your feud, so you can just go out there and just pound each other and beat the dog shit out of each other. Instead, you put yourself in predicaments where you damn near die. I mean, that spot with Zachary Wentz, him taking that plancha off the top of the middle rope, and he overshot the table, and he fucking, for sure, probably fucked up his hip a little tiny bit. It was like, it was so unnecessary. It was so unnecessary, bruh. You know, good on Wesley for getting the win. He put some chains around his legs and then hit a meteora on Zachary Wentz when he was sitting in the chair. But man, whatever, I just miss the days of, like, for an example, Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. Their Hell in a Cell match at No Mercy 2002, one of the fucking greatest matches ever, top 100 greatest matches of all time. And they didn't, you know, have to use tables and all this shit. It was bloody. They had a cast on Undertaker's hand to play into the story in itself. The most you got was probably like a steel chair, for real. And I'm trying to think if they even used a steel chair in the match. I remember steps. They used the steel steps. But, like, it was a bloody affair, and it was just guys beating the dog shit out of each other. Just fists being thrown, blood flying everywhere. And it's like, you just don't get that nowadays, man. Everybody has to use all kind of acrobatics when it's really not fucking necessary at all, man. At all, man. I just miss how wrestling used to be back in the days as far as the styles are considered. I mean, again, it wasn't a bad match. It's just a match that just... It's such a, you know, 2024 kind of match, you know what I mean? Hopefully when McIntyre and Punk go out there to have their Hell in a Cell match, you know, they teach these kids a thing or two as far as, like, not having to do so much shit and getting the most out of just the little things and using your facial expressions to tell more of a story than the fucking 450 through a table. It's... I'll say it once and I'll say it again, man. People like Shawn Michaels, people like the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudleys, people like Mick Foley. Granted, it was innovative and it was fun when you first watched it about 20 years ago, 25 years ago. But man, honestly, man, if I knew what wrestling was going to be today, I would love to go back and just tell those guys, hey, can you not do all this shit? Because there are going to be people who are going to take what you do and you implementing stories into it, they're just going to ignore the story part and just do what you did. Man, but with that being said, let's continue on with the show. All right, so we got Jada Parker and Lola Vias. They're about to have a tag team match. I think against, JC Jane and I think the Fallon Henley. I think that's who they're going to face against. If I remember, they didn't announce it. I have to record this like during the entrance. So I can have as much time as I can to talk about what I want to talk about. So I'm pretty sure it's against Fallon Henley and JC Jane though. But let's talk about this promo with Oba Femi and Tony D'Angelo. I like this. I like the hype built around this. This was good. You know, you have Tony D'Angelo who's, you know, talking about how he's from the streets of Chicago, how everybody believes in him. He has extended family in the crowd. He has friends. He has close associates. And if they believe in him, then he believes in himself, and he's going to go out there and he's going to take it to Oba Femi. And then Oba Femi, he's looking at him and he's just like, look at you, little man. You sit here and your stupid chair. You think you get to beat me? Do you know the kind of protein I eat? The dogs and the cats? I use knives and I cut them into chunks. I eat them. I eat the ass first. It's more protein. Packs you with vitamins and energy. And you think you're going to beat me? You're nothing but a Sicilian punk. I'm going to eat you up like I eat all the cats and the dogs. I have extended family in Ohio. They save me the cats and dogs that I eat. I will devour your soul like I devour the cats and the dogs. You are nothing more than a little man, like the kittens and puppies I eat for dessert. And when I'm done with you, little man, you will respect me. And then you have Tony D'Angelo. And Tony D'Angelo, he's like, you're nothing but a man, Oba. And Oba's like, I am a dog eater and I'm a cat eater. Do you not understand, little puppy? Little pussy, I will eat you alive. I will eat you. Mother Africa, put me in charge of you. Ooh. And then he walks away. And I'm like, yeah, I like that. And I can see him totally walking up the aisleway, and you have the Miz saying this is awesome, and Oba Femi's looking back, white boy, shut up. And I'm like, yeah, I completely agree, Oba. He didn't say that, but I can see it in his eyes. And I like it. The promo's fine. It hit his point. I like everything about that, bro. It's going to be fucking lit. Oba Femi taking on Tony D'Angelo. And I honestly can't wait. You know, there's a part of me that kind of wants Oba Femi to lose the match, because I don't know. I doubt this to be the case, but like the quicker we can get Oba Femi up to the main roster, the better. He's so fucking good. As a big man talent, he's a part of this whole new generation of like big man talent who can go in the ring and they're super agile. They're super great. Like he has that Braun Breaker aesthetic about him. Again, it's a whole new breed of big man out there in professional wrestling. And man, he moves like a cruiserweight, but he's just as powerful as a Brock Lesnar. And all his moves are super innovative. His promos, he's always on point. He has this very Gunther-esque type of vibe about him, this final boss feeling about him. The crowd going, whoo! Every time he talks, he has a trademark with him also. He comes out to the ring with a bunch of swag, and he's great. He's fucking awesome. He's one of my favorite wrestlers in NXT. Maybe my favorite wrestler. I really fuck with Oba Femi. And honestly, it's a part of me that's like, the quicker you lose that NXT championship, I feel like that's the quicker we can get you up to the main roster. Because man, Oba Femi versus Braun Breaker, Oba Femi versus Gunther, sign me the fuck up. Let's go, bro. Hell, Oba Femi versus Roman Reigns. Yeah, y'all like the sound of that, don't you? Y'all like the sound of that? Hell yeah, I know I like the sound of that. Quicker we get him up to the main roster, the better. Honestly, I don't even mind Tony D'Angelo. I feel like Tony D'Angelo, if he went up to the main roster, though, he'd be kind of a joke. You know, sooner or later, I think he would do something, but then he'll just, I don't know, fall in the lower mid card. I don't really see a future with Tony D'Angelo on the main roster, but Oba Femi, and he's really young too. That motherfucker right there, he could be the face of WWE if you play your cards right. But yeah, with that being said, like I said, Jada Parker, her sexy ass, Lola Vice, her sexy ass, taking on Fallon Henley, and I presume JC Jane. I mean, they're pretty at least. Let's keep it on going. All right, just a few quick things to talk about before we get to the main event. Looks like they're going to give this match at least 20 minutes with commercial breaks in between. So, and I'm not sure if they're going to give it an overrun. I mean, I know they gave it an overrun for USA. If they give this an overrun, this has the potential to go like 20 to maybe even 30 minutes. So, you know, I'm pumped for it. I want to see what's going to happen, man. I want to see what's going to happen. But just real quick notes before we get to that. We had this tag team match with Lola Vice and Jada Parker. Jada walked out on Lola Vice in the middle of the match because I guess she was annoyed by Lola. I mean, she kept inadvertently hitting her by accident. And by the second time, Jada was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. That was twice. I'm out of here. Oh man, I don't know about seeing her coming in, but I love to see her leave. God damn, that ass was jiggling. Woo! But Lola Vice eventually she got gained up on and she ended up losing the match to what they call themselves, Toxic Influence or some shit like that. I don't fucking know their name. They're fucking Fallon Henley and JC Jane. And they turned around and they called out Kehlani Jordan, who was doing guest commentary, to come into the ring to come fight them, which was obviously not going to be the case because it was 1-on-3. It was those two versus their little sidekick, who I can't remember her fucking name. Who cares? Out comes Bianca Belair and Storm is coming. Jake Cargill. They come out to the ring. Kehlani Jordan did make reference to the fact that she had a couple of surprises as far as a plan B is considered if things didn't work out with, Jada and fucking Lola Vice. But yeah, Jade comes out to the ring and fucking Bianca comes out and they clear house and they end up sitting there posing with Kehlani Jordan. Apparently we're going to get a 6-man tag match, or I guess a 6-woman tag match with those two teams next week in the St. Louis show. Also, you got a little bit of a promo package with Randy Orton and Javon Evans preparing for their match, promoting their match. I still can't get over the fact that Randy Orton, this dude was already in the midst of one of the greatest Intercontinental Championship reigns of all time when this fucking Javon Evans wasn't even born yet. Think about that for a second. When Orton was in the midst of his Intercontinental Championship reign, this kid wasn't even born yet, bruh. As a matter of fact, I'll do you one better. When Randy Orton became a part of Evolution, his mom wasn't even pregnant with this kid yet. Think about it, he wasn't even a conceived thought when Randy Orton joined Evolution for the first time. Think about that, man. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It makes me feel really fucking old, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, those two are gonna have their match, and we all know Javon Evans isn't gonna win the match, but he can have a good showing, and I'm expecting to see one of the greatest RKOs of all time. They also promoted the tag team match with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. They're gonna take on the team of Axiom and excuse me. Damn it, here we go again. Thank God he's not on the show tonight. I mean, they were playing video games backstage, but I mean, not really much of a thing, right? And we have one more match. Oh yeah, Oba Femi and Tony D'Angelo going fighting for the NXT North American Championship. So that seems like a pretty killer show next week. Can't wait to see it. And we got a little few tits and bingies and wingies with the NXT the NXT World Champion coming out, and they're doing the final promo package with him and Trick Williams. They were talking about CM Punk. He just came out to the ring not too long ago to get a big pop from the Chicago crowd. They're singing his song. Everybody's having a good time, but that good time ain't gonna last too long, because coming up right now, we got the main event for the NXT World Championship. Trick Williams versus Ethan Page with CM Punk as a special guest referee. I'm not even so much worried about the match. I'm more so curious, are we going to get any surprises? Because I'm not really expecting any surprises next week. This is the debut of CW. I'm expecting, hopefully, to get a surprise along with Ethan Page could probably do a good job with a great fucking match. So without further ado, the main event. Ethan Page, Trick Williams, 1-on-1. Let's do it. Well, that was underwhelming as fuck. The match in itself was fine. Like, it was fine as far as going in there and having a capable main event match. It was the announcement table spot and CM Punk asserting his authority, and all of it was fine. I didn't even mind Trick Williams winning back the NXT championship. It was just like, I don't know. I believe, this is nobody's fault. This is my fault. I got my expectations, a little bit up there as far as hoping we would have got a cool surprise. I'm not even saying it's a surprise in the sense that I needed this guy. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered, but it would have been nice to have some sort of surprise. I don't know why. I kind of hyped myself up to thinking okay, is Daniel Garcia? I've been hearing rumors about him. Is Ricky Starks going to show up? I was hearing rumors about him. And like I said, these are guys that I don't necessarily care for, but it would have just been the surprise in itself that would have been good. And we didn't get no surprises. It was a straightforward match, and Trick Williams won. And I gotta say, the way that he won the match also, it was very uneventful, to say the least. There was like no special circumstance or nothing. He just hit him with the trick knee, and then he won the match. It's as simple as that. He's a 2-time NXT World Champion, and it's not like that was a bad thing. I think I even went into this thinking that Trick Williams was going to win the match, because you want to have a big spot for your NXT champion. You want to kind of set the groundwork going forward on the CW network with something that's a little bit more, unexpected, even though it was kind of expected. I don't know. It was just something that I was just hoping that we would have got something a hell of a lot more satisfying than what we ended up getting. And then after the match, CM Punk ended up hitting him with the GTS, Ethan Page, that is. And like I said, it wasn't a bad match. It was just very, very underwhelming. Very, very underwhelming match. And the lack of surprises on the entire show, to be honest with you. Outside of, when Cora Jade and Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill is all you got, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. That's, excuse me, again, that's all on me for getting my hopes up. And just overall, the show in itself, I'm not gonna say it was a bad show. It was just a very mid show. I think that's the best way to describe it. It was very mid. The women's championship match was probably the best match from the entire show, but that's pretty much it. The women's match with Giulia and Roxanne Perez, which that in itself, I know they can do a hell of a lot better. And that was a fine match, but I felt like they could do a hell of a lot better with that match. And even the Cora Jade spot was kind of tainted it a little bit. And then the Zachary, Wentz and Wesley match was just a run-of-the-mill hardcore match that just kind of felt tainted a little bit, because they just did everything that they literally did what everybody else does in a stereotypical hardcore match. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. And then you got the tag team match with JC Jane and Fallon Henley and Jada Parker and Lola Vice. That was completely boring and didn't really affect anything as regards to the show. That was all just to set up Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, who we see on every show, SmackDown, Raw, even sometimes. And the Oba Femi promo with Tony D'Angelo was pretty good, more so for anything else because of Oba Femi. And then you got the main event. I was at least hoping that maybe McIntyre was going to come out or something, just to send a last, party message to CM Punk going into Hell in a Cell this Saturday. Nah. Just two guys come out, they have a match, and one guy wins, and then it abruptly cuts off. Which I guess that's the end of the overrun for NXT now, right? That's the end of the overrun era. And then they have the audacity in the middle of the match to say that we have all the stuff that I covered in the last timestamp, talking about what's going to happen on the show next week. And then they have the nerve to be like, oh, Sexy Red is going to perform. Oh, God, that's a bathroom break if I ever seen one. God, I miss the days of, even the show intro. I didn't talk about this in the beginning, but the show intro with the garbage hip hop music, and it's just, man, the days of rock music in WWE are so far gone. It just doesn't get you excited for anything, man. It's just really dry. It's really dry. I hope NXT it doesn't stay locked into this energy, this pitiful downfall energy of just suckage. You know what I mean? It's not to say the show sucked, but with the presentation and how it just abruptly goes off the air now like Raw, I just hope it just gets better. This was a great show these past couple of weeks, and this show setting off the energy for the new era it just gave me a bad omen. Next week we have a pretty solid show from what I can tell as far as the match card is considered, outside of seeing anything in regards to Sexy Red. I don't want to see that at all, but like I said, that'll be a bathroom break match. just like I said, the show was very mid. It could have done more. I was expecting more, and we got this. You know, to the extent we didn't get any fun skits like we typically get on NXT, but I get it. This was supposed to be played up as like an unofficial PLE damn near. You know, even this review, I don't think this review is this is gonna probably be the shortest review I've done in years. This show, the review in itself was gonna be a little over 30 minutes because I got nothing else to say about this show. Nothing exciting happened. The matches in themselves were mid to even bad, and we didn't get any cool surprises. You know, it is what it is. All shows got to start somewhere. I just hope what they do in the future, it's not this. It's not this energy, you know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. I guess I don't really have anything else to say. Just that's pretty much it. The show was mid. You know, if I had to give it a star rating, probably give it like not even 3 stars, maybe 2 3/4, to be honest with you. If I had to give this a show rating, if this was graded like a pay-per-view, I'd probably give the show a 6, maybe even a 5.75, to be honest with you. But that's just my opinion. Let me hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. How did you feel about the show? Did you have the same sentiments as me, where it's like the main event was something that you were expecting more out of, and you ended up getting something that was unfortunately not all too compelling? Were you expecting any debuts or something along the lines of that, especially looking at social media and seeing how hyped everybody was getting for what they were thinking was going to happen that didn't really happen? But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I need to get the fuck up out of here and prepare for tomorrow, because you know I usually use these kind of shows as my something to purge me a little bit, right? Like my palate cleanser to get prepared for Dynamite. We have Will Ospreay and Ricochet. Oh God, kill me now. Let's prepare for that show for tomorrow. As always, my name is Devontae, and I'll be catching you guys later. The deuces and a P eyes.